Trump announced no tax on overtime for workers. Let me show that for y'all real quick, and then I want to get y'all thoughts on this.
I'm also announcing that as part of our additional tax cuts, we will end all taxes on overtime. You know what that means? Think of that. Think of that. Think of that. That gives people more of an incentive to work. It gives the companies it's a lot easier to get the people. And, you know, I went to some economists, great ones, and I said, what do you think? They said, it would be unbelievable. You'll get a whole new workforce by doing that. No taxes on overtime. The people who work overtime are among the hardest working citizens in our country. And for too long, no one in Washington has been looking out for them. Those are the people. They really work. They're police officers, nurses, factory workers, construction workers, truck drivers, and machine operators. It's time for the working man and woman to finally catch a break, and that's what we're doing because this is a good one. And I think it's going to be great for the country.
All right, so Trump is saying that he don't want to know his latest policy, and one of the things that he wants to do for the middle class is to completely remove taxes on overtime for workers. What are y'all thoughts on this?
What ramifications does that have towards like the employer?
Zero.
So it doesn't change anything from them.
Well, I mean, I would imagine that it makes it less difficult. What I found personally, whether it's a small business owner or thinking about particular industries, it is very difficult to get people to work nowadays, and it's hard to find good workers. So I would imagine that it's zero ramifications for the companies, and it's probably a 100% benefit for the companies.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, because I'm back in the day, we used to like figure out exactly how much overtime that we can work until our checks start going the other way. Because if you work too much overtime, that motherfucker be less than when before you picked it up with the taxes.
Yeah, I feel you. So,
Yep. Hmm.
any
I
thoughts? What do
like
y'all think about this policy? Do you think it's a
I
good
like
thing,
it.
bad thing, or what?
I think it's a good thing. You know, most of my family is, law enforcement. So I think it's a good thing. And a lot of their overtime is forced. Like
Yeah.
they can't get out of it. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think a lot of people don't think it can happen though.
I
That's what
believe
I
that
believe.
it's a game changer.
I think
I,
so too because you get more of an incentive to want to come to work because it's just like it's kind of like what Quentin said, and most people unfortunately don't take advantage of all the actual tax breaks in the tax code.
Because they
So
don't know better.
right, so even if you don't have children, there are other things that you can't. But I digress. But at the end of the day, that is a determining factor for a lot of people. They're like, well, why should I work if I'm not really gonna see anything? Because you can say, hey, I'm gonna give you the overtime. It's just like, so you're just gonna tax me, and then I'm not gonna get it back.
I believe that it 100% of all of the different things that I think can affect the middle class in a positive way. I think that that is the thing that probably would be the biggest game changer of anything that I've heard of in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Personally, I can't think of anything in my lifetime. If he was able to pull this off, first of all, if he was able to get voted in, and if he's able to pull this off, I think that that possibly could place him on a Mount Rushmore of the greatest presidents of all time.
Because I think tax is like 40 to or overtime is like 45 to 40% or
Well, the
something.
thing about it is that once you get into higher tax brackets, it affects you in a negative way. But if you have no tax on
Mhm.
overtime, I think that that changes the dynamic of really affecting the middle class in a positive way. Because even when people get raises, let's say you get a raise on your job, you don't really feel it. because basically it puts you in a higher tax bracket. That's number one. And then
Mhm.
number two, you still not keeping up with the rate of inflation. What it does is, and it solves for multiple problems on multiple fronts. So let me break it down from this lens. The first thing that it solves for is a worker shortage. Whether you're in fast food, whether you're in a factory, whether you're in retail, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a public servant or whatever, you want to get through that first 40 now because your money is gonna come on the back end. You back end working just like an executive now. You working for the other side of it, bro. We used to love, until we started looking at the taxes. We used to love working holidays because that was triple time. We used to love
Mm-hmm.
working anything over 40 because that was time and a half. And so, and Sundays was double time for us. So once you pass that 40 mark, anything past, and this is when I was in a steel mill, anything past 40 was time and a half. If you worked Sunday, that was double time. If you worked the holiday, that was triple time. So that's what we made our bag at. You know what I'm saying? So we always was looking for Sunday, and all of that, right? And but a lot of people would forego it because they was like, you know what I'm saying? The taxes and everything like that, it didn't really, they couldn't see it. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is, if you want to really boost economic spending, circulation of the dollar, help the middle class, change family trajectories and all of that, put people in a position of power, for people like the people that's really in the middle, or even people that don't have, but they want to get a leg up. That's how you get people off of social services. That's how you get people incentivized. That's when you get people to compete. And so on that front, from a business perspective, it gets people into these jobs because it's very hard to get people, especially for the harder jobs. On the other end of it, for the people, dog, that is a life changing thing for their family. And then for the federal government, it creates a dynamic where it forces the government to also be more fiscally responsible because they can't keep their hands in your pockets as much, but then it generates more revenue for the businesses because we become more productive as employees, right? So that's where the money is made. It's a win-win-win all across the board, bro. And so
But
for me, in my opinion, I believe that it's one of the biggest game changers that you can have. I don't think I have never heard of anything. Um,
Why would
Dog, you would
anyone
get
have a
more people in skilled trades because they really get to the bag. You would get more people
mhm.
wanting to work while they was in school. You would get more, like, we would
what
become 10 times
incentive?
more productive as a society. Our biggest problem would be making sure that we had enough jobs for everybody at that point.
Why would anyone vote it down? Why would anyone have a reason to say no?
Because they don't like him. I had a girl tell me, and I lied to you not. I could show you the text message. She said, "I'd rather go into financial ruin than vote for that man."
That's stupid.
I don't care. Let me tell you something. I don't care. Um, we could be different. You could be all the way on that end. I could be all the way on this end. But dog, can we get this money together? Because at the end of
No.
the day, you gonna go home and I'm gonna go home and we gonna live our different lives.
Hmm.
Can we just, you could, let's, under no circumstance, the cardinal rule for a hustler is, listen, you don't fuck up the money. We could disagree with each other. We could be at war. And the only time you go to war is when the money is fucked up. You don't go to war for ego. You don't go to war because you don't like somebody. You figure out, all right, listen, is it worth it for what the sacrifice is going to be? And do we fuck up everything? Because people can figure it out when we got to get it together. And so, all of that gender war shit, that shit go away when it start fucking up the money. People get divorced more because of finances. They don't get divorced because of cheating. A man that is making a bag and they got their brand together and all of that, I guarantee you, is plenty of. You think Melania Trump is with Trump because she just love him, or do you think that she understand her assignment?
She understand the assignment.
I don't believe that Michelle and Barack Obama is in love as they try to portray themselves, but they
Well,
understand that for their image, they have to fucking get that. They gotta stay together and they gotta get that money.
Yeah, and then I mean, Barack already told it in his book that he was in love with somebody else. He was already engaged to a white lady, and his mentor had told him, if you are you're gonna run, you can't be married to this lady.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's sad. He didn't say
I
that.
read both of his books.
I didn't read his book, so I don't know.
Yep, I
Hmm.
have both of them, and he told it, and it's a fact, right? So a lot of them, I mean, look at Bill Clinton. Ain't no way Bill Clinton is attracted to that lady. I don't care what y'all say. It's no way. Like it's like, but for his career, she was very good.
I know dudes, regular everyday guys, that will not lead a chicks because they're not trying to fuck up the bag.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand people of today or women of today as willing to sacrifice their well being because they don't like a person. That is insane to me.
Well, and you have to remember too, Anton, that you know how it is now. Mostly people are single, right? Most of the women are single. They make up a lot, if not most of the workforce. And most of them, and some of them are single mothers. So they're making the decisions for the households.
Yeah.
So the person that I was talking to was a single mother. So with that being said, there's the there's that the feelings and all that other stuff. There's nobody there to combat that, like, hey, this is what you need to do for financially for your family, because they're being told, well, we can have all these social services and we'll be fine, so why do we need this from Trump?
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is so dumb. Social services is literally for the bottom of the barrel though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still got to be
Social
in
services
poverty.
when you can't get nothing else,
You
like you
still got to
can't
be
do
in
nothing.
poverty. Yeah, you still got to be in poverty to get it. If I got to go all the way into poverty just to be on social services, I'm good. I'm straight. You can have it. I don't want to be in it. I'm not going to down myself just to go and get something for free when I could pay for it. I'm good. I take pride in the fact that I can go and pay for what I want to, and I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. As a man, like, I am happy when my daughters say, "Hey, Dad, can I get some money out the ATM or whatever?" Blah blah blah. I like being a provider and taking care of business and paying for trips and stuff like that. So I don't want to suffer. I don't know what this suffering mentality, that poor mentality stuff. That stuff was never for me. I hate it. I hate it.
I definitely
Not
I
having
def-
when I was coming up.
I mean, like here in DC, they have these income based houses. I mean,
Yeah,
like apartments, and the
yeah.
apartments are gorgeous. They're in the best parts of the city, and you're like Serena has a condo in the Navy Yard where the baseball stadium is,
Hmm.
and in the same place is like the hood, because in DC you have to save 10% of everything you build for low income. So
Yeah.
to stay under the income, they'll pile like all of their members in the house, and none of them will have a job and all this other stuff. So it raises the income bracket, but they don't have to have a certain income just to get in there. So they're in like these 35, 40, yeah, like 40 grand
Well,
apartments.
it's different in Michigan. We have a similar program, but that only extends. Shout out to y'all. I'm gonna read those super chats shortly. The program only happens if you take tax incentives from the city or the federal government or the local government. So, for example, we got a lot of building that's happening in Detroit. The building that I'm in now, it just opened this year in February, right? So I was one of the first people to move into the building. I got my pick of what it is that I wanted and all of that stuff. But we have zero uh low income or middle income housing or anything like that. You just got to afford to live here. And the reason that they was able to do that is because they took zero incentives from the city in order to build this structure. You know what I'm saying? So because they invested 100% of their own money, they can choose what their prices is going to be, and they don't have to reserve anything for lower income or middle income or whatever, so on and so forth. But if you take, and I don't know how it works in other cities, but if you take tax incentives from the city, then they require you to set aside a percentage of it for, you know, equal opportunity housing or whatever, so on and so forth. So one of the reasons that I chose to live here is because in order to be here, you got to really afford to be able to be here. And it
Mm.
eliminates any of the riffraff and all of the BS and people and their baby mamas or whatever.
So
So
is Detroit
I know,
liberal?
huh?
Because I don't know many of the Michigan politicians. So is Detroit liberal
Our
or
mayor is a Democrat, but he's not like that. He is Mike Duggan was a CEO of DMC, which was the hospital systems and all of that stuff, but before he ever became mayor. So our city is ran by business leaders at this point. And
so
so
he's like a
every
mob?
decision, yeah, they work together with Dan Gilbert, Mike
Mm.
Ilitch, the Ford family and all of that stuff. So what you see being built up all down here is all business decisions. They don't give a fuck about that politics stuff. They all about business and bringing people here and bringing visitors and making sure that we got the the draft was here, and making sure that we create an environment that's conducive. We built it around Wayne State University, which is the core of a city, and having all of the sports teams here. So we work together. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care about party politics. I
Yeah,
care about policy. And
honestly.
our mayor, Mike Duggan, he about a bag. He about, hey, is the infrastructure good? Do the people? You don't hear from him. You don't hear from him. Only time he is at an event is at a ribbon cutting, or some new restaurant or a new business or a new unveiling or something. He ain't doing all of that extra. He just out of the way. And honestly, I think that he's more Republican, but I think, in order to win here in Michigan, you got to kind of run as a Democrat
So
in the city, in the urban
Like a
core.
Reagan Democrat.
Yeah, he about that bag. He don't give a fuck about all of that stuff. And so I love Mike Duggan. Mike Duggan is the
I wish
man.
we had that because here in the DMV, if you're a Democrat, you straight to the left.
Yeah.
All right.
So
We don't have
I don't think that I don't even with being a liberal technically, he's more conservative, and he's more about policy, and he's more about getting to that bag. We don't have no police shortage. We don't have none of that stuff. We just running it up.
yeah, DC got police shortage right now.
So yeah, he worked with all of the business leaders, but I do think it's a game changer. I think it's absolutely a game changer.
Yeah, this is
Um,
dope. And
so
then you get to keep like that's like having a whole like let's say you work 80 hours a week. That's like having a whole gross 40-hour check plus some.
yeah,
Uh,
No tax.
yeah.
Most people are gonna put that right back
Usually
in.
that and a half is all taxed. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
yo, if you can keep a
And
hundred
a
percent
half
of
instead of and a half that's fucking taxed.
if you can keep almost 100% of anything over 40 hours, do you know how much money you would make, bro?
Yes.
People would be fighting for overtime at that point.
Our overtime don't. We're contract employees. Our overtime don't work like that.
Oh, it would.
No, like they
But
have
that's
to
probably because
offer.
your pay higher though? Most
Oh,
contractors they always have higher pay.
yeah, they do
Than,
because they don't. Usually, they get it at a 1099, or they get it at a higher pay because they don't have the same
mm-hmm.
benefits as regular workers. Yeah. So, yep, I agree. I think that it would absolutely be a game changer, and I think it would be a thing. So,
I'm with
any
it.
other thoughts on the no tax on overtime? I think that
Trump
Kamala
20.
Harris is gonna try to steal it in some way. I
Yeah,
think
I
she's gonna
think
steal
something.
it and rebrand it.
That was my thought. That was so my thought.
I think she's gonna steal it and rebrand it.
She gonna call it something else.
Yeah,
Yo,
the
Trump was right.
economy
He was right.
forward removal of it.
it's
I think
gonna be, it's
it's
gonna be
gonna
like
be
8 words long.
yeah, it's gonna be something stupid.
Oh my
I honestly
God,
believe
that's
she
so
gonna
funny.
steal it. She a
She
thief.
is.
She a thief. She ain't
She
got an
is.
original thought to save her life, bro.
Nope. Her stuff is Joe Biden's, a little bit of Barack and
Yeah,
Trump.
yeah. But I do like Mike Duggan. I think he's an awesome mayor, and I
Mhm.
think that he's done really well for the city and fostering good business relationships and inspiring people to come in and work together and get into it. He don't care what you do. He don't care what you believe in. As long as you're not committing no crimes and you running up a bag and pay your taxes, he all for it.